This dope sculpture, Dancing with Max, is by Sasa Nibbert, sculpted in 2010, made possible through the generosity and support of employees of Huntington Steel, the city of Huntington, and Marshall University, and has, quote, "Let us lift our children high and share with them a boundless joy. Let us show them their potential in the endless sky." And that quote was by the sculptor Sasa Nibbert. Dancing with Max. Let's go. Good afternoon, good people. This is P9 with another vlog, and I am here in the city of Huntington, West Virginia. Huntington is a city that is a county seat of Cabell County, and it is partially located in Wayne County, but it's mostly located in Cabell County as the county seat. And it is located at the confluence of the Ohio and Wyandotte rivers in the state's southwestern region. With a population of 46,842, it is the second most populated city in the state of West Virginia, behind the state capital of Charleston. And I start this vlog right here in front of the Cabell County Courthouse on 4th Avenue. Now, Huntington shares a metropolitan area with Ashland across the state line in Kentucky, and it is located in a region of the United States called the tri-state area, which includes West Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio. So it is located at the western terminus of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway. And check out this really nice courthouse right here. And there's a couple of law offices across the street in this building as we make our way into the core of Huntington. So Huntington is very important as far as cities are concerned because it has a major port right here in the city. So it does provide a lot of economic benefits from that standpoint when it comes to transporting goods to other port cities. And it was named after the railroad company's founder, Collis Potter Huntington, who was an industrialist and railway magnate in the late 19th century. So Huntington was basically one of the major industrial sites in, especially post-Civil War, when it came to manufacturing and industrialization. Huntington was very vital in that regard. So I'm gonna go down further down 4th Avenue. Before I go there, I'm gonna walk down 8th Street, check out some of the buildings on this street. It looks like this may possibly be an apartment building coming up. This is called the Progress Building. So I'm on 8th Street now, so a lot of the government buildings are around this area, aside from the courthouse, the county courthouse. This looks like not sure what building this is. This is oh, this is City Hall. So all the municipal services are here at City Hall. Tom Bell, in recognition to your many years of dedication to the city of Huntington. So I guess these plants right here are dedicated to Tom Bell. Check this out. They have this sculpture right here, which was sculpted by Alan Payne, artist Alan Payne, sponsored by JRW LLC, and this is basically called the Battle of the Bell. And the Battle of the Bell is a annual matchup between the Marshall University football team and the Ohio Bobcats football team. So you have Ohio Bobcats and the Marshall Thundering Herd. These two meet up for the annual matchup called Battle for the Bell. So both teams are located in what's called the MAC Conference for those college football enthusiasts out there. But that's a really dope sculpture. But yeah, this is City Hall for Huntington. This is where the city council meets. And there's a bunch of municipal services. And this building was built back in 1913. It was erected by the King Lumber Company, and Varus Ritter was the architect of this building. So there you see the City Hall. And right across the street, they have a more modern building. That's the Federal Building. But I'm gonna continue down 5th Avenue. So across the street, this building you see is the Sidney Christie Federal Building and U.S. Courthouse. And they actually have some condos over here. But beyond this gate, it's called the Lofts at Renaissance. This is an interestingly architected building right here. But this is the Cabell County Public Library. I'm at the corner of 5th Avenue and 9th Street. I think I'm gonna go down this way on 9th Street. But check out this sculpture right here. This is called the 6th Street Bridge Spire. The 6th Street Bridge Spire, donated by the members of the Cabell County Commission, Bob Bailey, Scott Bias, Nancy Cartmill. But this spire right here is one of 4 spires that crown the old 6th Bridge that spanned the Ohio River, connecting Huntington and Chesapeake, Ohio. Business leaders convinced that a bridge was essential formed the Huntington, Ohio Bridge Company and authorized construction in 1925. The company sold it to Cabell County in 1940 for $2 million. In 1952, Cabell County turned it over to the state of West Virginia to ensure maintenance and repairs. The old span was demolished on February 3rd, 1995, and 2 of the spires were dedicated to their new location on 9th Street in 2007. And there goes the marker, the erection of the marker right there. And they have this building right here. This was once the public library, donated by Andrew Carnegie, but it now has what's called the Emeritus College of Huntington. So it's pretty cool, but a lot more to see. Let me go down at 9th Street. Then I'll come back on the other side of 9th Street a little bit later on. This is the One Plaza South building. So we're seeing a lot of older buildings down 9th Street. This building was once the Huntington Trust and Savings Bank. This is the Walton building. It now has what's called Boots, Spirits and Feed. They have a boutique over here. So 9th Street is also known as the Honorary Phil Carter Plaza. We continue down this way. Planet 92. Like they're gonna have an event going on. .93.7 The Dog. Looks like they're setting something up. I don't know. They said looks like they're gonna really have some sort of event. Let's not forget, Huntington is also a college town. where Marshall University is located, which is also where we're going to check out. And they have also nice little art pieces of artwork and sculptures, like this one right here. It's called the Candy and Teddy Bear Train. Artist Charlie Barriger and sponsor CHH Auxiliary. So Charlie Barriger was the artist of this Candy and Teddy Bear Train. It looks pretty creative, really nice. This is actually called the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe. Check out my guy right here on the guitar. Very talented. I'm a huge fan of the guitar, so when I see a good guitar play, it's really nice, really nice. What's up? Tennessee whiskey.
You're sweet, yeah, strawberry wine. Yeah, now you're just as warm as a glass of brandy. Thanks, man. Stay strong on your loving girl now all the time.
Very talented, bro.
The same old places. I found at the bottom of a bottle's always dry, yeah. But when you poured out your heart, I did not waste it. I hate when I forget the words to
right in the middle doing it. That's what happens when you smoke.
Hey, what's your name?
Josh.
Josh, okay.
Yep.
Nice
I've got a little business on you.
Okay. That'd be awesome, yeah.
No, what's your cost for engagement?
Hey,
how long?
hey, oh, yeah, I just wanted to know if you had a social media or anything, like, you doing, like,
How long are you talking?
oh, you have any, like, social
I mean,
media
I'm on Facebook.
on Facebook? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll just for the vlogging, just wanted to show some support, like to show support to the local artists. Yeah, definitely, man. Josh, all right, yeah, no problem, man. Yes, sir. All right, yeah, yes, sir, no problem. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, Josh, I'm gonna look him up. I'm gonna look him up on Facebook. One thing, I'm gonna make sure I put my name in. Once I find him on Facebook, I'll make sure I shout him out. Let him know it was me, P9 Travel Vlogs. They came through Huntington and show some support. I like to support local artists, you know. And once I get his information Facebook wise, I'm gonna share it to the account, share it to the description box. That way you guys can go show some support. But yeah, this is really nice. Nice little area of the state of West Virginia, Huntington. There's a lot of people who are talented locally and whatnot. So it's good to get them some type of exposure as much as I possibly can. But check this out. They have a Marriott right here. It's called the Delta Hotels by Marriott. One of their many strings of hotels. Yeah, the market. This is 3rd Avenue. And check this out. This is what's called the Health Network Arena. It looks like it may possibly be the arena where the Marshall basketball team plays their home games. Looks like a relatively modernized arena, just based on the architectural type. The landscape gardens out here in the front. Really cool, really cool. And in front of this arena called the Health Network Arena is this sculpture, The Continuous Ascent by John Rietta. You had to wait till them sirens go by. Hopefully everything is okay. When you see an emergency vehicle, the paramedics usually is an indication of something serious. So But yeah, this is called The Continuous Ascent by John Rietta, 1979. It's made out of high nickel alloy material, and this sculpture is constructed of the high nickel alloy and donated and fabricated by the Huntington Alloys Inc. And other funding was by the City of Huntington, Cabell County Commission, and the Huntington Urban Renewal. So this is really a really good effort as far as the urban renewal process is concerned. So can't wait till my business cards come in. I can start promoting my channel a lot better by passing them out, passing the cards out, and explaining in short what my channel is about. Here are P9 travel vlogs. Let me go ahead and cross right here. My effort is to grow this channel in ways that I never would have imagined that I'll be able to grow it, you know? Crossover. Cross over here. Luigi's Family Italian Restaurant. All right. Gyro King, authentic Mediterranean shawarma. Look how long that alley is. Walking down the other side of 4th Avenue. And this is the more run down side. Unfortunately, we do have some homeless on the other side. This is a federal building. Also, a sign that points towards Chesapeake, Ohio, which is across the Ohio River from Huntington. But yeah, you guys, you see these buildings right here, extremely run down, abandoned, boarded up, all that stuff. Nawab Indian cuisine. So not a whole lot to see over here. It's pretty beat up over here on this side of downtown. Let me walk further down this way, because this bridge over here carries Highway 7, which is basically Ohio Highway 7, because Huntington is right on the border with Ohio. So if you go across this bridge over here, you basically be in Ohio. You'll be in Ohio. Have a nice little art sculpture over there. It's really nice. Sits over here by the bridge. But this is called Building Blocks. This sculpture is called Building Blocks. It was sculpted and presented by Randy Pleasant, Quentin Pleasant, Brett Lane, Joyce Lane, Simone Dawson, Kia Bond White, Anna Wright, Jacques Skaggs, Whitney Hodges, Andrea Huff, Tim White, and Terrence Lapter. So it was a lot of people who participated in the sculpting of this nice sculpture. So this is really cool. The city of Huntington and a bunch of local artists partook in this. So shout out to each and every one of them. It was kind of hard to make out what was on the actual plaque with all the names on it. But really nice. Really nice. They also have a Bob Evans over here. And quite frankly, guys, I don't even think this Bob Evans is open anymore. No, they're open. I see a couple people walking out. I'm sorry. They are open. I jumped to conclusions. It's just not a lot of people out over there right now. But yeah, this is Bob Evans. And drop a comment if you ever eaten at Bob Evans before, or if you remember that restaurant. I'm not familiar with it myself, but I do know they are a chain restaurant. Oh, it's starting to rain. But it's all good. I think that adds to the excitement of the video, I guess, you know. So I'm gonna keep on recording. They have a clothing store right here called Turin. And we're in the area called Pullman Square. Pullman Square. Starbucks, of course. But they have what's called a Pullman Square farmers market over here, May through October, Wednesdays and Saturdays. Matter of fact, they have one tomorrow, Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. farmers market. That's what's up. And you have this sculpture right here. It's called The Nexus, and it's by Brianna Rose Jarvis, who sculpted this back in September 19th, 2014. Shout out to Brianna Jarvis for this really nice sculpture. It's the buffalo, which represents the mascot of Marshall University, which is the thundering herd. And you have this fountain that sits right here at Pullman Square. And just to get some context of what Pullman Square is, it was established in November 2004 by the Metropolitan Partners in Transit Authority in partnership with the City of Huntington, Huntington Urban Renewal Authority, the Huntington Ironton Empowerment Zone, and the Federal Transit Administration of the State of West Virginia. So yeah, so Pullman Square came about in 2004 as part of an urban renewal effort. And they actually have a Marquee Cinemas movie theater, this nice little park, again, that's headlined by this fountain. And they also have a lot of shopping in this area. I didn't even know they had something like this. This is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool addition to the downtown area of Huntington. So yeah, that's really cool. Really cool. Let's see what they have over here. Roosters, book, Inner Geek. Chico's. And what's interesting is that many of these retailers, this might be the only location that they have in the entire state. Might be right here at Pullman Square. Cold Stone Creamery. They have a GameStop over there as well. So based on the design of the Pullman Square, it looks like they modeled it after an old like train station or something, like a train depot. So looks like that back in 1998, a $27 million intermodal facility was appropriated from Congress, which is what I believe is over here. So I believe it functions as a shopping center and an intermodal station for transportation, if I'm not mistaken. But they have a lot of retail space back there. They have this parking garage. Pretty dope. Y'all, I'm at the corner of Veterans Boulevard and 10th Street. And when I tell you, this is the first time I've ever seen a Red Lobster located in a downtown area of a city. So it's the first time for everything. You can see the DoubleTree by Hilton over there. But yeah, I'm finna go across the street, make my way over here towards the Riverfront. So remember, Huntington is located at the confluence of the Ohio and Wyandotte rivers. So this is a flood wall. This is that was constructed in 1938, and it provides 11.5 miles of flood protection, and was inhabited or initiated by the Huntington Chamber of Commerce, and was designed and constructed under the supervision of the U.S. Army Engineers, and it is maintained by the Huntington Flood Wall Board, 1938 and 1943. So it was a flood that took place in 1937, and it inundated the city of Huntington along with other surrounding areas. So it was definitely necessary for them to construct a flood wall. Right now, I'm over here on the Ohio River. And like I've said many times before, my favorite types of cities are those located on a river. And it's real nice and peaceful out here. And here's another piece of art. This is called The Tub Boat. The Tub Boat by artist Brianna Jarvis. The same one we saw not too long ago did the little buffalo over there at Pullman Square. It was sponsored by Canon Medical Systems. So shout out to Brianna Jarvis for another nice piece of work. And we right here at the waterfront. And this is in honor of David W. Harris, Executive Director of the Huntington Urban Renewal Authority between 1961 and 1983. And he was an administrator, businessman, and pioneer in the renovation of downtown Huntington. And this plaque memorial was dedicated May 1984. Shout out to David Harris. This is a really peaceful place to come chill. This is one of the more nicer riverfront developments that I've seen in recent years. And right across the street, you could actually see the village of Chesapeake, Ohio, from across the river. And this is also the site where the Lewis and Clark National Survey marker commemorates the Lewis and Clark Army expedition in 1803, and the first of the Great Western explorations. The Lewis and Clark Corps of Discovery began in the east and traveled the entire length of the Ohio River past this point where the river runs west. So shout out to the Society of American Military Engineers, the Beaufort chapter of the Daughter of America Revolution, and Triad Engineering for marking this particular site as that of where the Lewis and Clark expedition took place. And we got a few people out here fishing on this Friday evening. And check this out, you even see a barge going across the river. So look at all that greenery in the background, and check out that barge making its way across the river. Very nice, very nice. And we're on the banks of the Ohio River. And on the banks of the Ohio River, there's plenty of wildlife in the form of these different species of birds, and also the painted turtles. You have the spotted sandpiper, the Canada goose, the pied-billed grebe, the great blue heron, the belted kingfisher, and the red-ringed blackbird. So this is really cool. Sponsored by the Neil Berthold family. And you also have what looks like a grandfather with his grandson enjoying a day by the river, going fishing. Life on the river banks is uncertain. Exposed to withering heat of summer drought and the sweeping surge of spring rains, survival here can be difficult. To withstand these conditions, bank flora must quickly adapt, so to must its wildlife supports. So yeah, definitely, I could only imagine how it will be living out here on the river. But to think the natives did it well, the natives pulled it off very well, of course. The indigenous people of the land. I definitely have to bring that up for sure. So you have the indigenous people, who are the Shawnees, the Mingos, and the Senecas, who originally inhabited this land that you see before you today on the Ohio River here in Huntington, West Virginia. And here's the different species of, you got possums, moles, owls, crawfish, muskrats. Okay. As the day winds down, the sun drops behind the mountains. Commonly seen species become less visible, quietly slipping off into their nightly roosts. Although it's bedtime for some, other nocturnal species are just getting geared up for the night of activity. So yes, these are the creatures that come out at night. You know what I'm saying? Freaks come out at night. Freaks come out at night. But those creatures come out at night. I don't know why that song came to my mind just now. But you have the playground right here. So it's a nice area to go fishing, ride bicycles, take a regular stroll. It's really dope. Nice and peaceful along the river. The river of life. From its quieter and peaceful roots in gentle rapids to its present day use as a major commercial shipping route, the Ohio River has continued to provide for a wide variety of wildlife species, From fish to birds, amphibians to mammals, the Ohio River is teeming with life. So you have the barn swallow, the mallard duck, the turkey vulture, killdeer, bullfrog, the great heron, the raccoon, the wood duck, and the cardinal. Sponsored by the Greater Huntington Park and Recreation District and the city of Huntington. So shout out to them. So you see a lot of fishing activity going on over here at the Ohio Riverfront right here in beautiful Huntington, West Virginia. You got to give credit to all those illustrations we saw on those markers. Those are all illustrated by Charles Chuck Ripper, and he worked on these markers at his home studio. So the insect galore, seasonal residence, life on the banks, life below, river flora, dusk to dawn, and river of life markers all along the banks of the Ohio River were illustrated by Charles Chuck Ripper. As you can see a picture of him working on his artwork. And since 1953, the city of Huntington has been fortunate to claim renowned artist Charles Chuck Ripper as a resident. A native of Pennsylvania, Mr. Ripper graduated from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh in 1949. And upon graduating, he was commissioned to illustrate a children's book, which he completed before his 20th birthday. Subsequently, he took a job as an illustrator with the Carnegie Museum, after which he spent 2 years in the U.S. Army. And following his time in the service, he settled in Huntington with his wife, Virginia. Interestingly enough, so he dedicated his life to painting America's wildlife, and he's done such a great job with it. His paintings have even graced numerous outdoor magazine and catalog covers, including a total of 16 for LL Bean. So he's definitely a nature enthusiast for sure. And as an engaging character and storyteller, Mr. Ripper stresses that a wildlife illustrator's work is no better than their knowledge of his subject. And his commitment to the study of wildlife has made him an enduring figure for fans of his work and colleagues in his field. His artistic talent and lifetime of experiences living near the Ohio River have provided him with a unique and intimate knowledge of the area's wildlife, which he skillfully depicts in his colorful River of Life collection. So yeah, and that's a picture right there of Jim McClellan, Director Secretary of the Greater Huntington Park and Recreation District. So he oversaw this development along this park, and basically, you know, developing these parks and especially one such as this, which provides the residents, the locals, and visitors alike a really nice place to chill right along the Ohio River banks. So shout out to Charles Chuck Ripper and Jim McClellan. From rivers to railroads, I'm over here at Heritage Station, another example of a once historic railroad depot district. Was converted to be a now retail and shopping and eating district, entertainment district. So yeah, this is Heritage Village, and right here is the Red Caboose Regional Artisan Center. But in Heritage Village, which was opened in 1977, it's a historic structures which were adapted to modern retail uses based on the theme of railroad heritage. Includes the Baltimore and Ohio Depot, an 1875 bank, and Guston Borglum statue of the city founder Collis Huntington. So let's go check it out even further. Now, C.L. Ritter was a director, and C.W. Campbell, the vice president of what was called the Huntington and Ohio Highway Bridge. And these are all the directors right here. And it was constructed in 1925 to 1926 by the Huntington and Ohio Bridge Company. The structure contractors were General Contracting Corporation in Pittsburgh, PA. The superstructure contractors were the Mount Vernon Bridge Company of Mount Vernon, Ohio. And the J.E. Griner Company was a consulting engineers out of Baltimore, Maryland. And the resident engineer was C.P. Vogel. And again, here goes the directors. So these are all the people who played a part in the Huntington and Ohio Highway Bridge. So over here, there's a couple of restaurants. There's a cafe, a little a nail and hair salon. And they have some little seating areas out here. So you can come out and sit down and eat your food and just socialize, all that good stuff. So this definitely has the design of a, you know, railroad district, railroad depot. And this is a gazebo right here, the Mickey the Mickey St. Clair gazebo, September 2nd, 1977. In recognition and appreciation of her devotion and dedication of the creation of Heritage Village. Okay. And they have a full circle gifts and goods shop down there. So they have a gift shop for those that would like to come and go and get some souvenirs and whatnot. They sell like a bunch of, you know, typical gifts, things that you would see at a gift shop. Pretty cool. And they have this railroad replica right here. And who's ever heard the story of Jesse James? Jesse James was a railroad train robber. So he was an outlaw. And Jesse James, was Jesse James here? Yes, he was. Indeed, he was. This is when the James boys robbed the Bank of Huntington. It was here on September 6, 1875, where this building was the scene of Huntington's first bank robbery. In Wild Wild West fashion, 4 men approached the Bank of Huntington. 2 entered and exited with almost $20,000 stuffed down in sacks. And then they began shooting up and down 3rd Avenue, the bank's original site. Rumor has it that the culprits were the James gang. Incorporated into Heritage Village in 1977, the Bank of Huntington, founded in 1872, was the city's first bank and the beginning of today's First Huntington National Bank. The Bank of Huntington building was said to mirror the city from its earliest days. Was Jesse James here? No one knows for sure, but all of Huntington's early dignitaries and tens of thousands have passed under this doorway. So yeah, this is the site of the first bank robbery here in Huntington, West Virginia. So, and that was pulled off by the James brothers, Jesse James. So this is a railroad or rail car and a locomotive of the Baltimore and Ohio. It was used for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, which historically ran through Huntington. So that's pretty cool that they preserved this artifact right here. So you have this marker right here. This marker is John Hunt Oley. John Hunt Oley was born 1830 in Utica, New York. And Oley was in that state's National Guard and came to Western Virginia in 1861 to drill Union troops. He rose to the rank of Brevet Brigadier General by war's end. And in 1871, Oley settled in Huntington and worked as land agent for Collis P. Huntington. He helped form the Trinity Episcopal and was city recorder and treasurer until his death on March 11, 1888. So another historical figure right here in Huntington. And actually that locomotive that we just saw, it is called the Elk River Coal and Lumber number 10 steam locomotive, and it was built by American Locomotive Company in 1924. The number 10 was used to haul mine waste from Rich Run Mine in Wyden, West Virginia. Retired from Elk River Coal and Lumber in 1959 and moved to its present location on May 27, 1977. It was placed on the National Register of Historic Places on September 28, 2006. So yes, that's the Elk River Coal, Lumber, and number 10 steam locomotive. And one more thing that I want to check out right here at Heritage Station, and it's this marker of blues and gospel singer Diamond Teeth Mary McLean, and there goes her right there. And Miss McLean was born and raised in Huntington, West Virginia, and when she was 13, she hopped a train and left town to become a singer and dancer. She spent the 1920s and 30s performing in medicine and minstrel shows. During the 1940s, Mary had diamonds removed from a bracelet and set into her front teeth, creating a dazzling stage effect which earned her the name Diamond Teeth Mary. Night spots from Chicago to Miami billed her as the Queen of the Blues and Walking Mary. She performed at the Apollo Theater, the Cotton Club, Carnegie Hall, the White House, and in Europe, where her show-stopping charisma received standing ovations. She also toured with the USO. As she had requested, her ashes were sprinkled on the railroad tracks at Heritage Station, where she had hopped her first train. Mary always lovingly referred to Huntington as my home. So shout out to Diamond Teeth Mary McLean. She was the first one to put a grill in her mouth. Hey, so everybody putting them grills in their mouth and them pullouts and everything. Hey, check this out. Y'all have to pay homage to Mary McLean. Y'all gotta show some respect. Put some respect on in her name. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this was presented by the West Virginia Blues Society on August 27, 2010. Dang, to show you how determined Miss McLean was, Diamond Teeth McLean, she was so determined that she was willing to hop a train at the age of 13. Yeah. That's how it was back then. You had a lot of that going on. Maybe not so much hopping trains, not everybody did that, but you had people leave home at early ages before the age of 18 back in the day. So but yeah, this was nice checking out Heritage Station right here in downtown Huntington. Here's some cool nuggets of information to learn about power plants and electric power. Power plants, the electric power goes through transmission lines, large high voltage power lines to substations. These lines feed into local distribution systems that move power from substations and transformers to the customers. Now, did you know a pound of coal supplies enough electricity to power 10 100-watt light bulbs for about an hour? I definitely didn't know that. But with the flip of a switch, the plug process of turning coal into electricity is readily available at your fingertips. Modern technology would not be possible without coal, from lights to computers, air conditioning to automobiles. And since coal is non-renewable resource, we need to conserve energy resources so it will last for years to come. So yes, conserving energy is definitely important. They have tips on conserving energy, which include insulating your walls and ceilings, modernize your windows, select the most energy efficient models when you replace your old appliances, turn your refrigerator up and water heater down. And electricity travels at the speed of light more than 186,000 miles per second. So yeah, I like how, West Virginia, being that it is the coal mining hub of America, along with Kentucky as well, that they have this type of information. In wind energy, you have in 2009, wind turbines in the US generated about 1.8% of the country's electricity. Although this is a small fraction of the nation's total electricity production, it would be enough electricity to serve 6.5 million households or to power the entire state of Wisconsin. West Virginia has more than 3,000 megawatts of undeveloped commercial wind potential property. Jeez, it's a lot. And hydroelectric power. Hydropower is the oldest form of renewable energy used to generate electricity. Dams built to produce hydroelectricity impound a reservoir of water and release it in through one or more water turbines, which are connected to generators. Electricity is then generated from the energy provided by differences in water level upstream and downstream. And the Appalachian Power has 4 hydroelectric power plants. Among these are the Racine hydroelectric plant on the Ohio River and Winfield, London, and the Marmot hydroelectric plants on the Kanawha River. So yeah, a lot of good, cool tips, a lot of cool information regarding hydroelectricity, coal, and energy conservation. So definitely take heed. Yeah, I think this is really cool that they have these little mini, I guess, water towers or whatever these things are right here. But yeah, they have all this information. You have the Huntington Museum of Art. You have the Central City Antiques District. Gives some information about that right there. And you have information about the Blinko Glass. Blinko Glass Company, founded in 1893 by William Blinko, who was a color and skilled craftsman. And you have the Heritage Farm Museum. So a lot of pretty cool information that you can reference right here in downtown. Gives you a glimpse of what's around the city. They have Huntington's Kitchen, the first community kitchen of its kind in America. And it was originally established during the 2009 TV production of Jamie Oliver's Food Revolution. So the Huntington's Kitchen is a pretty big deal right here. It's owned and operated by the Cabell Huntington Hospital, and it offers a wide variety of cooking classes, food demonstrations, and educational seminars and community events. So yeah, Huntington's Kitchen. I think I passed by that earlier when I was walking towards the Pullman Square. Pullman Square, you know, of course, they're going to have information pertaining to the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. So lots of nuggets of information. So a lot to see over here. A lot to reference. It's getting cloudy now. It wasn't a heavy downpour yet, but we did get some. When I was at Pullman Square, you felt like a little bit of raindrops. So I don't know if it has potential for a heavy downpour later. I got a DoubleTree by Hilton right here. Yeah. Wait. Across the street over here. Here we go. pretty and poised. Walking down 10th Street now for the first time. East Flavor. Is that a Chinese restaurant? Japanese? It looks like a, yeah, Japanese restaurant. Yeah, East Flavor is a Japanese restaurant right here on 10th Street. Sells sushi and all types of Japanese dishes. This is called the Frederick Building right here. Doesn't look like much going on right over here. Buildings for lease. We walk across the street over here. Look, ABC, Fox 11. They have a TV station right here. WCHS, ABC 8, and Fox 11. News station right over here. And this is the St. James Hotel right here at the corner of 10th Street and 4th Avenue. I'm gonna walk down this way on 4th Ave. Yeah, those clouds are heavy. Those clouds are heavy, but I'm not gonna let that stop the show. You know how I do it. The Frederick Building. This is a hotel? Keith Albee. That's a theater right there. It's an old theater. It literally looks abandoned. I'm not even gonna lie. It looks abandoned. But yeah, this is the Frederick right here. It looks like a residential building or a hotel.
No, she wouldn't be standing there. She was.
St. Mary's Lounge or St. Mark's Lounge. Antique Mall. This is the West Virginia building right here. Huh. I gave away my last dollar. I'm sorry, sir. Hold on. Hey, sir. Here you go, sir. God bless you as well, sir. Yes, sir. You have a good one now. Yes, sir. I try to do P9 try to do a good deed every now and then. I do a good deeds all the time. And I do it just because it's just, you know, I know there's people out there who's less fortunate. So I try to be of assistance as much as I possibly can. But yeah, I'm over here back where I was at earlier. Check out this sculpture right here. It's called Whimsy. Artist Tammy Gigi. Sponsored by Amy Vaughn, MD Dermatology. Really nice sculpture of a tugboat, a river boat with all these nice colors on it. So it looks like they're still setting up, or they might be done setting up for this whatever event. Looks like a concert right here downtown. And this is called the Machinate artist Robert Poor and sponsored by Nelson Mullins. This is also a nice looking riverboat, very creative in the design. Shout out to Robert Poor. So a lot of people gathered out here this evening. So it looks like they're getting ready to have a show. Pretty cool. But this covers downtown Huntington. There's more of the city to see, so stay tuned. I'm on the campus of Marshall University over here by Corbley Hall, and we're gonna take a stroll around parts of the campus here at Marshall University. Marshall University is one of the major universities here in the state of West Virginia. It's a public research university that was founded in 1837, and it was named after the 4th Chief Justice of the United States, John Marshall. More on him in a minute. But right here we have what's called the John Deaver Drinko Library. So this is the school's library right here. And of course, right now, being that it's summertime, it's the middle of June, it's it's nobody on campus. It's a ghost town. Probably maybe a few people on campus, but not very many, as it would be like during the fall and spring semesters. But yes, this is a sculpture, as a matter of fact. Here's a statue of John Marshall, the namesake of this university and the 4th Chief Justice of the United States. Now, he was the longest serving Chief Justice in the history of the U.S. Supreme Court. I mean, he served from 1801 until 1835 when he passed away. He was also the U.S. Secretary of State under President John Adams, and he served in the Congress as a representative from Virginia. So that's just a little history of John Marshall. And we're gonna walk around the campus and get some history. Check out some of the historical, buildings and monuments, sculptures, things of that nature. Go check this out. It's a really nice campus. A lot of trees, of course. A lot of flowers and greenery. Which brings us to this fountain right here. Now this is called what's the name of this thing? The Memorial Fountain. The Memorial Fountain. And this is a fountain that represents and that basically is dedicated to a bunch of, it's basically what happened in 1970. A football team, the 1970 Marshall University football team, flew on a chartered DC-9 airliner, and it plunged through the drizzle into a hillside as it approached Tri-State Airport at Huntington, West Virginia. And there were 75 people on board, and all 75 on board perished, unfortunately, in this unfortunate incident. But yes, it was on a dark, overcast Saturday evening back in 1970, November 14th to be exact. So this memorial fountain was built to honor those who lost their lives in that tragic plane crash. It was a 1970 Marshall University football team. And I think ESPN, I mean, there's a bunch of documentaries that's been done on this story. I believe ESPN also did a documentary, 30 for 30. 30 for 30 is like one of my favorite documentary series on ESPN. And here, I'm gonna get a close-up, but here are all the crew members on that plane, the staff that was on that plane, the supporters. A lot of those included family members of the football team. And then, of course, you had the coaching staff right there. And here are the list of all the 1970 football team members. So to think, all these people lost their lives. I can only imagine. I couldn't imagine how, incredibly heart-wrenching this was. It's a huge tragedy. A lot of people were affected and plagued by this tragedy. So RIP to all the football team, members of the football team, staff, supporters who lost their lives. And this happened 55 years ago. This thing is crazy. It's been that long. But this is the fountain, memorial fountain. And I wonder who did the sculpture, by the way. It doesn't have any information. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, I don't see the information anywhere. While I find that information, hopefully I can find it. But they also had a film about this movie, by the way. It's called We Are Marshall. It was a movie, and it was directed by Warner Brothers. Or it was a Warner Brothers movie, rather. It's distributed by Warner Brothers. And Matthew McConaughey starred in the movie as Coach Jack Lingvale. And he was trying to revive the football team back then, 1970. Also in that movie was Kate Mara, January Jones, Ian McShane, Matthew Fox, and Anthony Mackie was in that movie as well. And this is a nice engraving of a bunch of names. And I guess these are people who either basically made contributions to the university in some form or fashion. But it's called the Marshall University Pathway of Prominence, an appreciation of those whose leadership and significant gifts are enhancing Marshall's future. Dan Angel, president. Tim Haymaker, chairman. And this was established back in 2002. So it's really nice. Really nice. But yo, Marshall University, they got so much bread, right? They have so much bread that they have hammocks. They have hammocks like literally laying right here. I'm about to show you. They have hammocks right here in the middle of the campus. Go figure. Sits right over here across from the science building. In loving memory of Terry Lovely Snowder, forever in our hearts, beloved sister and devoted Marshall University alumna. But yeah, really nice campus so far here at Marshall University. But I'm gonna go check out some more. There goes more hammocks right there. In case somebody want to take a nap between classes. They too tired to get to the dorm room, so they just crash right there on one of the hammocks if they have one available. Now check this out, they have a bell right here too. Sits right here in the center of all these nice roses and beautiful plants right here. Pretty cool. But I'm gonna go check out some more of the campus, so stay tuned. I'm on the campus still at Marshall University, and I'm in front of Joan C. Edwards Stadium, home of the Marshall Thundering Herd football team of the Sun Belt Conference. So there's no longer a MAC conference, so I want to correct what I mentioned earlier. They used to be part of the MAC conference, but the MAC conference is pretty much defunct. So now the Marshall Thundering football team is part of the Sun Belt Conference. And this is the football stadium called Joan C. Edwards Stadium, which was built back in 1991. So it opened up in 1991. And in that same year, you know, back during that time, Marshall was part of the 1AA NAACP, or excuse me, the NCAA Division 1 AA, which is now known as the FBS or the FCS Football Championship Subdivision. So, you know, they weren't really a big football program playing in Division 1A football at that time, but they won a title back in 1992, a year after this stadium opened. And this is just a monument right here. We are Marshall. So you have right here a sculpture of 3 football players. And again, this is another one of those memorials to the 1970 Thundering Herd team members who lost their lives. The coaches, supporters, staff, and the crew who are all on board that plane that crashed back in 1970 tragically. So this is the monument right there. And here, right here, is just a long list of contributions made from different people. Marshall Athletics, dating back to 1991. Big Green Scholarship Program, people who won scholarships to the university. And these are who the stadium is named after, in grateful appreciation of Joan C. Edwards and James F. Edwards. So they were a married couple. Stadium named November 28, 2003, and the field was named September 3rd, 1993. So you also have the Charlie Slack Legacy Society and a list of loyal fans, a whole bunch of them, who contributed to this football program in this stadium. So shout out to each and every one of them. It's a super long list of them. But yeah, Marshall was used to be part of the MAC conference. They were also part of the Southern Conference, which is where they were part of back in 1991 and 92 when they won the subdivision title. This is the Herd Zone, the stadium store. So there's a bunch of Marshall merch. And they used to also be part of the Conference USA. So, but ever since 2022, Marshall has been part of the Sun Belt Conference. So the rivalries they had rivalries with Appalachian State, Ohio, West Virginia, and East Carolina, to name a few, throughout its course of history. And they won multiple titles too. They won multiple titles dating back to 1998. They won multiple conference titles, multiple bowl games. And yeah, Marshall, they've had some form of, they've had a lot of success throughout their history, you know. So the list of coaches that they've had throughout their history, they've had Jack Lingviel, Frank Elwood, Sonny Randall, Jim Donnan, Bob Pruitt, and Mark Snyder, Charles Huff, Doc Holliday. And since 2025, they just drafted former NC State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson, who's going to be the new head coach for Marshall. But here you have the statue of the mascot. This is the bull or the bison, whatever it is, the buffalo, Marshall Thundering Herd mascot. And look, they even have a convenience store located that sells Marshall Athletics merch. So it's over there. And they have a wall of legacy Ralph and Jimmy May. So pretty cool stuff right here. It's a whole bunch of people over here. Joe Honeycutt, James Floyd Thomas, James Loudermilk. It's so many to name, you know. Mike Bartram. Now these are bricks of all the individuals who lost their lives in the plane crash back in 1970. So they have coaches, wrestling players, football players, all type of people. One of the most famous basketball players to come out of Marshall University and just Huntington, West Virginia as a whole is Hal Greer. Played in the NBA Hall of Famer. We're going to see his later on. We're going to see his statue later on. But yeah, Bob Pruitt. So throughout its history, Marshall won 14 conference titles. They won 11 division titles. And they're 13-7 in the 20 bowl games they played. So it's a lot of All-Americans who came out of Marshall as far as the football team is concerned. You know, one of them being Mike Barber, who won the Walter Payton Award back in 1988. You had Troy Brown, Rogers Beckett. Troy Brown, he was a famous special teams player for the New England Patriots. You had Byron Leftwich, B.J. Cohen, Chad Pennington, to name a few. But last but not least, obviously, you can't forget the Hall of Famer, probably the greatest of all time in recent years to come out of Marshall, and that's Randy Moss. Randy Moss, you know, he dominated here at Marshall. He had a string of troubles back at Florida State, you know, but he came to Marshall, dominated, and became the first round pick in the '98 draft. And the rest is history. Randy Moss pretty much set every receiving yards record known to man. 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time receiving touchdowns leader, Offensive Rookie of the Year, 98, NFL Comeback Player of the Year, 07. And yeah, Randy Moss has a string of accolades that eventually got him into the Hall of Fame. And Moss is also a native of West Virginia. Him and Jason Williams, y'all remember Jason White Chocolate Williams? They went to the same high school, played on the same basketball team and everything. And yeah, I got to go take a visit to Bell, West Virginia, their hometown, next time I'm in West Virginia. But yeah, Randy Moss, man, he was something serious. He was basically impossible to stop, especially on man-to-man coverage. So much so that if somebody got caught on, I remember they had a verb. They said you got mossed. When you get caught, when somebody catches over you, whether it be a one-hand catch or a two-hand catch in single coverage, they call it getting mossed. So I remember Randy Moss was that dangerous, was that lethal, that he had a verb called being mossed. So yeah, that is the history of the Marshall Thundering Herd football team. But you got a little bit more to see, so stay tuned. Over here, not far from the football stadium, I'm about to walk down this area surrounding the campus. This is where a lot of the college students hang out. It's an entertainment district around the campus. So let me keep going. Check out more of the campus. Now, It is really overcast, so excuse the quality of this video. But this is a famous hangout spot here by the campus called Fat Patty's. So it's a famous college student hangout. Yeah. I saw a couple college students in there. You know, they saw the camera and they started waving. But I think this is coming up over here. It looks like another sporting facility. It's called the Big Green Cam Henderson Center. That's what it's called, the Cam Henderson Center. Right here. It's on 3rd Avenue. Yeah, it looked like Fat Patty's be lit. I saw a whole bunch of people in there. Looked like that place is a lot of fun. And it might not even just be the college students that hang out there. It might be most of them, but hang out there possibly. But yeah. But it might be some locals that hang out there as well. But this is the Cam Henderson Center, which is the indoor athletic complex. And it's also used as the venue for the home games for both the women's and men's basketball programs, as well as the volleyball team. Y'all just check, I just saw a trolley pass by. So they do have a trolley right here in Huntington. Marshall Hurd Grill on 3rd. We about to see momentarily, wait for it, momentarily, we about to see something really cool, really dope right here by the Cam Henderson Center. We about to see a statue of a legend. Feel the raindrops, but the raindrops ain't gonna stop the show. Here we go. Without further ado, here's the hometown legend, Hal Greer, Memorial Plaza. Harold Everett Hal Green. This is a statue of him right here in front of the Cam Henderson Center. And there he is right there in his Marshall University uniform, number 16. And Hal Greer was born June 26, 1936 here in Huntington, West Virginia. And he had an NBA career that spanned 15 years. 15 years playing for the Syracuse Nationals / the Philadelphia 76ers. And in that 15-year span, Hal Greer won he was a 10-time NBA All-Star from 1961 to 1970. He won one NBA title in 1967. He was also the NBA All-Star Game MVP 1968. He had his jersey, number 15, retired in 1976. And he was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame 1982. And was named 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996. So he's part of that prestigious honor and prestigious fraternity of basketball players. He's also the 76ers all-time leader in points, 21,586, games with 1,122, and field goals with 8,504. And in his collegiate career here at Marshall University, which spanned 4 years between 1954 and 1958. He won the MAC Conference Championship in 1956. They had a NCAA tournament appearance in 1956. He was the MAC Conference MVP in 1958, as well as All-American Honorable Mention in the same year, and was inducted into the Marshall University Athletics Hall of Fame in 1985. And also civil rights trailblazer. So not only was he a trailblazer and a professional on the court, he was a trailblazer during the civil rights era. His enduring impact is much more significant than his considerable accomplishments on the basketball court. Growing up on Dalton Avenue in Huntington's Fairfield neighborhood, he attended the segregated Frederick Douglass High School, where he was a basketball standout. Marshall University coaching legend Cam Henderson recruited him to Marshall University. And in 1954, Greer broke the color barrier in West Virginia collegiate sports by becoming the first African-American scholarship athlete at any of the state's traditionally white school. Greer did not have an easy path at Marshall. Integration was a controversial issue in the 50s, and he often experienced racial prejudice. Restaurants and hotels refused him admission when he was traveling with the team, and he endured insulting catcalls from the stands. In the end, Greer's character and deliberate nonviolent approach to the mistreatment, along with his talent, challenged the status quo and paved the way for future generations of African-American athletes. Long after his retirement from basketball, Greer was still breaking barriers and was the first African-American from West Virginia to be enshrined in one of the Big Three athletic halls of fame, the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, 1982. So shouts out to Hal Greer for overcoming insurmountable odds and in becoming an NBA legend and a trailblazing legend in the civil rights movement. Yep, that's Hal Greer. That has to be an amazing accomplishment. I mean, to overcome all those obstacles, become a Hall of Famer in the NBA, and to get a statue on not only the grounds of the university you attended, but also in your hometown. Man, hometown hero status right there. But yeah, there's a few more of the buildings right here on the college campus. Gullickson Hall. And they have a biotech science center right over here as well. So heavy emphasis put on biotech, which is the wave of the future, of course. Biotech, very, very big industry. They should establish a biotech industry, if they haven't already done so, right here in West Virginia, because that would be huge. It would diversify the economy so that West Virginia could be, you know what, I'm not even gonna I know my native West Virginia is gonna get mad at me for saying that, because that boosts the economy here and it brings a whole bunch of people. You know how that go. Yeah, but it's just a marker that I'm gonna leave out with, and it just gives some basic information about Marshall University. Named for John Marshall, Chief Justice, U.S. Supreme Court, 1801 to 1835. Founded as Marshall Academy, 1837, and chartered as Marshall College, 1858. Established as a state-supported institution, 1867, and granted university status in 1961. So it has had university status for over 60 years. But this is Marshall University. So that's it for this Marshall University segment of the video. We got one more part to highlight in Huntington, and we'll be done. So stay tuned.